The secret was never meant to leave the walls of courtroom 6B. Judge Ronald Pierce, known for his merciless tongue and sharper ego, leaned forward that morning, glaring over his glasses at the boys standing before him. 17-year-old Landon Vale looked too thin for his suit, too calm for someone facing charges of computer fraud, and too young to carry the kind of stare that made the gallery go silent. But Judge Pierce didn't know the truth yet. No one did. Only hours earlier, in the dim hallway outside the courtroom, a whisper exchange between two officers hinted at forbidden truth. You know, he isn't just representing himself, he's representing someone else. Someone who doesn't want to be seen. And that was the moment the entire case began to unravel. Landon's life had never been normal. His mother, Dana Vale, raised him in a silence thick with rules. Don't open the door after 8 p.m., never talk to neighbors, never mention your projects to anyone. He never questioned her until he turned 15 and discovered her hidden basement room. The walls were lined with old case files, transcripts, sealed evidence folders, and photos of defendants she had defended during her years as a public defender. But in the center of the room sat something stranger, a dusty file with Landon's name on it. Inside was a note written in his father's handwriting. He will outthink the system. He will surpass all of us. But he must never be allowed in a courtroom. It could destroy everything. His father had vanished the year Landon was born, and Landon understood only one thing. His mother had been hiding far more than her past career. By 16, he'd memorized every law book in the basement. By 17, he had quietly begun studying case strategy, trial psychology, and the dark corners of judicial corruption. He never planned on ending up in court until someone framed him. That someone, he suspected, was sitting 3 rows behind him, his mother. Judge Pierce sighed dramatically, flipping to the file with exaggerated boredom. "Mr. Vale, I have socks older than you, and you think you can defend yourself." The gallery chuckled, but Landon didn't blink. "Yes, Your Honor." Pierce's smile curled with condescension. "And what prestigious law school did you attend, son?" "None," Landon said. "I studied the law on my own." "Oh," Pierce sneered, "so you're one of those?" He turned theatrically to the courtroom. "Ladies and gentlemen, another internet scholar who thinks he's discovered justice." More laughter. Phones recorded. The moment was made to humiliate. Pierce leaned closer, voice dripping venom. "Let me give you some advice, son. This court chews up child prodigies and spits them out. You don't belong here." But there was again that same stare, sharp and unreadable, and something in Pierce's chest tightened. Because Landon Vale's eyes were not the eyes of a normal teenager. They were the eyes of someone who already knew something he shouldn't. The case was simple on paper. Landon had allegedly hacked into a private law firm's servers, leaking confidential documents tied to a decades-old murder trial. The firm claimed he was a mastermind. Prosecutors agreed. The evidence seemed irrefutable. The real story was much darker. 2 days before the arrest, Landon had opened his bedroom door to find an envelope slid under it. No return address.no message, just a single USB drive. On the drive, he found encrypted documents, corrupt files, coded notes, fragments of old witness statements, all tied to his father's last known case, a case he had never been allowed to know existed. Before he could decipher them, the police arrived. The charge, hacking, the motive, unknown. The accuser, the same law firm that once employed his father. It was too perfect, too clean out of setup, and Landon already had a theory about who orchestrated it. His mother. Back in the courtroom, Landon made his move. "Your Honor," he said, "I'd like to call my first witness." Judge Pierce frowned. "Your case hasn't started." "It has now." Whispers filled the room. Judge Pierce hated being challenged, especially by a boy who looked like he should be playing video games instead of dismantling court procedures. Landon pointed to the back of the courtroom. To the stand, Dana Vale. Every head turned. His mother froze. Judge Pierce raised an eyebrow. "Your own mother? On what grounds?" "On the grounds," Landon said carefully, "that she is withholding evidence relevant to this case." Dana slowly approached the stand, her face composed, but her hands trembling. She was hiding something. Landon knew it. Pierce sensed it too. Ms. Vale, Landon began gently. Did you or did you not keep a controlled evidence file related to the 2007 Marwick case? A ripple went through the gallery. That case was infamous, known for its mysterious disappearance of the lead defense attorney, Landon's father. Dana swallowed. Hard. Landon, don't do this. Answer the question. Judge Pierce leaned forward, suddenly interested. Yes, she whispered. And did you or did you not remove information from that file after my father disappeared? Her eyes filled with panic. Your Honor, she said quickly, I'd like to request... Answer, Pierce ordered. Dana finally broke. Yes. The courtroom erupted. Pierce pounded his gavel. Silence. Landon continued. Is it true that the law firm accusing me today was the same firm my father was working against at the time of his disappearance? Dana's voice cracked. Landon, please. Is it true, he pressed, that you received anonymous money transfers for years after he vanished? A collective gasp. Judge Pierce's face went rigid. He wasn't smirking anymore. Ms. Vale, he said, voice low, are you admitting involvement in a cover-up? Dana shook her head, tears slipping down her cheeks. She wasn't crying out of guilt. She was crying out of fear. And Landon knew the difference. The prosecutor stood abruptly. Your Honor, this is irrelevant. No, Judge Pierce snapped. This is no longer a simple fraud case. Mr. Vale, continue. Landon exhaled slowly. My father didn't disappear. He was erased. And someone paid my mother to stay silent. Dana's sobbing deepened, her shoulders shaking. Pierce turned pale, not because of the story. He had heard wild tales before, but because he recognized something in Dana's expression, something he had seen in witnesses who knew they were being watched by someone outside the courtroom, someone dangerous. Landon continued. The documents I was accused of leaking, they were emailed to me. I didn't hack anything. They were sent to set me up, to silence me before I learned the truth. Pierce rubbed his temples. Who would want to silence you? Landon hesitated, then lifted his chin. The same person who threatened my mother for years. A pause. And the same person who gave you your position on the bench, your Honor. The room froze. Judge Pierce's mouth fell open for a split second before he regained composure. You're implying I'm involved? No, Landon said softly. I'm implying you've been controlled. Pierce clenched his jaw. His fingers twitched against the bench. He didn't deny it. He couldn't. Landon had checked Pierce's financial records himself. The judge's sudden wealth 15 years ago. The sealed donor identities. The political jump that made no sense. It all pointed to one silent, invisible puppeteer. A puppeteer who had touched Landon's life long, before he was born. Before Pierce could respond, a sudden noise cracked through the courtroom, a phone buzzing, then another, then a dozen more. Every screen lit up with the same anonymous message. Stop the case, or the next secret falls. The gallery panicked. Some stood, some froze. Dana Vale covered her mouth, whispering, Oh, God, they found us. Judge Pierce stared at his phone, like it was a death sentence. Landon knew the game had changed. Whoever was manipulating the system was now watching the courtroom in real time, and they did not want the truth revealed. Pierce tried to speak, but his voice shook. Court recess. Everyone out. Now. The bailiffs began clearing the room. Landon didn't move. His mother didn't either. Pierce stopped at the door, eyes darting. Landon spoke softly. Your Honor, who owns you? Pierce turned slowly. His face looked decades older. They warned me never to say the name, he whispered. Never, not even in private. Landon's pulse quickened. Then tell me just one thing. Pierce swallowed. What's the thing you fear most about them? Pierce's answer was almost inaudible. They don't kill people. A trembling breath. They make them disappear, like they never existed at all. Landon felt the floor tilt beneath him, because that meant his father wasn't missing. He was erased. Dana Vale wiped her eyes, whispering, Landon, please, stop digging before you end up like him. But Landon's voice was steady. I'm not ending this. Not until I know who they are. Judge Pierce looked at him with a mix of awe and terror. "Then ask yourself one question, boy," he whispered, backing away. "If they erase your father, why have they let you live this long?" And the courtroom doors slammed shut. Silence swallowed courtroom 6B the moment the doors shut. The echo of Judge Pierce's final question still pulsed in Landon Vale's mind like a warning carved into bone. Why have they let you live this long? The bailiffs hurried people out, their faces pale and confused. Dana Vale stood frozen beside the witness stand, as if leaving the courtroom meant crossing into danger she could no longer outrun. Landon remained exactly where he was. He wasn't afraid. Not yet, because fear comes later when you know the truth. And Landon was only beginning to understand that the truth wasn't just hidden. It was armed. Judge Pierce disappeared into his chambers without another word. The prosecutor stormed out, muttering into her phone. A bailiff approached Landon cautiously. "You need to leave," the bailiff said. "Court is recessed indefinitely." Landon gathered his notes. "Who ordered that?" The bailiff hesitated. "No one. That's the problem." A tremor of unease shot through Landon's spine. Courts didn't recess themselves. As the bailiff ushered him toward the exit, Dana grabbed her son's arm. Her voice was barely a whisper. "We can't go home." Landon studied her trembling hands. "Then where are we going?" She looked toward the empty judge's bench. "Somewhere no one will think to look for us." But someone had already thought of it, because when they stepped into the hallway, Landon froze. Every TV screen, every courtroom monitor, every scrolling announcement board had changed to the same black message. "The boy knows too much." Dana stiffened. Landon stepped forward, jaw tightening. Somewhere in the building, a security alarm started blaring. This wasn't a threat. It was a countdown. They rushed down the stairwell, Dana practically dragging Landon behind her. She moved like someone who had planned an escape for years, but prayed she'd never have to use it. "Mom, stop." Landon yanked his arm free. "Just tell me who they are." Dana gripped the railing, her breath unsteady. "I never knew their names. Your father didn't either. They operated behind numbers. Symbols, codes." "Codes," Landon repeated. "Like the ones on the files?" She nodded. "Your father decoded something he wasn't supposed to. Something that tied the Marwick case to powerful people." A shaky breath. "When he refused to destroy what he found, he vanished." "And you kept quiet," Landon said, not accusing, just stating the truth. Dana closed her eyes. "I kept you alive." Sirens echoed through the stairwell. Security, law enforcement, or something else. Dana stepped closer. "Landon, listen to me. If they know you saw those files, you're not safe anywhere." Her voice cracked. "But I know where your father hid the original evidence. He prepared a place in case anything happened to him." Landon's heart jumped. "Where?" Dana hesitated, then whispered. "Not here. Not while they're listening." A door swung open above them. Shouting. Footsteps. They ran. They burst through a side exit into the courthouse parking structure. It was nearly empty except for a single black SUV idling near the ramp. Dana stopped dead. "No," she whispered. "This is exactly what they did the night your father disappeared." The SUV's window rolled down slowly. A man in a dark suit sat inside, face expressionless, eyes trained on Landon. "Mr. Vale," the man said calmly. "Get in the vehicle. Your mother can come too. We only want to talk." Dana pushed Landon behind her, voice shaking. "Stay away from him." The man smiled politely, like a customer service agent offering help he didn't care if you accepted. "You're making this difficult," he said. "We simply need the files returned." Landon stepped forward. "I never had them." The man sighed. "You accessed them. That's enough." Behind him, another door in the SUV opened. Another suited man stepped out. Then another. Then another. All identical posture. Identical expression. Like they'd been manufactured from the same mold. Dana whispered, "Run." But Landon didn't run. He stepped out from behind her. "Why did you erase my father?" A flicker of amusement crossed the first man's face. "Your father wasn't erased," he said. "He was relocated. The word hit Landon like a knife dipped in certainty. Relocated, not killed, not missing, moved. Dana's knees wobbled. "You're lying," she said weakly. The man tilted his head. "Believe what makes you sleep at night. But we can take you to him. Right now, both of you, if you stop digging." Landon stared into the man's eyes and saw it. The calm certainty of someone who had no reason to lie. If they wanted him dead, he'd already be gone. But if they wanted control, they'd offer hope, a reunion, a deal, a trap. Landon stepped back. "I'm not going anywhere with you." The man smiled in fade. "We expected you to say that." He raised his hand. 3 more doors opened. Dana grabbed Landon's wrist. "Run now." They sprinted toward the stairwell at the far end of the garage. Shouts took over space. Shoes pounded pavement. Tires screeched. As they ran, Dana panted. "There's someone who can help. Someone your father trusted. We have to." A gunshot cracked through the garage. Not a shot aimed at them. A warning. Landon didn't look back. They hit the stairwell door. Locked. Dana slammed her palm against the metal. "No, no, no." Landon grabbed the emergency bar. Pushed. It opened. They ran inside, sprinting up a level and bursting out onto the open-air parking deck above the courthouse. Cold wind whipped across the roof. Rain clouds gathered overhead, dark and heavy. The whole city seemed to hold its breath. Dana leaned against a concrete pillar, catching her breath. "Landon, your father believed someone inside the system would protect his work if anything happened to him. Someone who worked with him before the Marwick case." "Who?" Landon asked. Dana pointed across the rooftop, toward the adjoining building. A municipal office tower. On the 13th floor, a single light was on. "Her," Dana whispered. Before Landon could ask more, a voice echoed from behind them. "You shouldn't have run." The men had followed. They closed in from both sides. 5, maybe 6 of them. Landon's pulse hammered. Dana backed away, her hand searching for something, anything, to defend herself. But the lead man raised his hand. "Enough," he said. "We're not here to hurt you. We're here to keep the truth contained." "By making people vanish," Landon snapped. The man shrugged. "We only erase what threatens stability. Your father made the mistake of believing truth matters more than order. And what do you believe?" Landon shot back. "That you're becoming a problem." He took a step forward. That was when the rooftop door behind them slammed open. Everyone turned, and Judge Pierce emerged, disheveled, pale, shaking, holding something in his hand. A file stamped with the symbol Landon had seen on the USB drive. Dana gasped. Landon's stomach twisted. Pierce's voice trembled. "Vale, I don't know what this is, but it was in my chambers, waiting for me." The lead man's eyes darkened. "That file," he said quietly, "changes nothing. Give it to us, Judge." Pierce clutched it tighter. "You think I'm your pawn? I've kept my mouth shut for years. But I won't hand this over." The suited men stepped closer. Landon's breath caught. Pierce wasn't protecting the file. He was protecting Landon. The judge whispered, "Boy, whatever's in here, your father wanted you to see it." He tossed the file. It slid across the concrete, straight toward Landon. Landon dove for it, but someone else was faster. A hand slammed onto the folder, a woman's hand. Tall, sharp features, dark coat whipping in the wind. She lifted the file, looked at Landon, and said, "You don't know me, but I worked with your father. He told me that if anything ever happened to him, I'd need to protect you." Dana whispered, voice cracking, "Alina." The lead agent stiffened. "Dr. Pratt, you were supposed to stay out of this." Dr. Alina Pratt stepped beside Landon. "I'm done staying out of anything." And then the wind shifted, cold, violent, carrying the tension of a city about to fracture. Alina held the file to her chest. "Landon," she said softly, "if you open this, everything changes." The lead man spoke again. "Open it, and you become a target bigger than your father ever was." Dana gripped her son's arm. "Landon, think carefully." Judge Pierce stared at him with haunted eyes. The agents tensed. Alina waited, and Landon felt the weight of the moment settle on his shoulders. He reached for the file. His fingers touched the edge, and he whispered, "Tell me one thing." Everyone froze. Landon lifted his eyes to the suited man. "If you erase my father, why are you so afraid of me seeing what he left behind?" The lead agent's jaw tightened, and for the first time, he looked afraid. Rain finally broke across the rooftop in a cold, needling sheet, blurring the city beneath a curtain of gray. Landon Vale stood at the center of it, soaked, shaking but unflinching. In his hand, the file his father left behind trembled like a living thing. Across from him, the suited operatives tightened their stance. Behind him, Dana Vale and Judge Pierce held their breath. Beside him, Dr. Alina Pratt, the stranger who claimed to once trust his father with her life, watched the agents with scientist gaze, calculating every possible outcome. The rooftop was a battlefield built from secrets, and Landon was a spark threatening to burn them all. The lead operative stepped forward, reins sliding off his coat. "Mr. Vale, give us the file. You cannot begin to understand what's at stake." Landon wiped water from his face. "Then explain it." The man hesitated. That single flicker, one heartbeat of uncertainty, told Landon everything. "I thought so," Landon murmured. "You're not allowed to tell the truth, are you?" Dana tugged at Landon's arm. "Please, let's leave. We don't have to open anything. We don't have to." "We do," Landon said quietly, "because they're scared of what's inside." The lead operative's jaw flexed. Alina stepped forward, her hand on Landon's shoulder. "Your father didn't trust many people, but he trusted me, and he didn't die for nothing." "Relocated," Landon corrected, voice bitter. Alina's eyes flickered. There were worse things than dying. The wind howled. The city lights below blurred. The operatives formed a tight circle, ready to move at the slightest sign of resistance. And Landon, still kneeling in the rain, opened the file. What he saw didn't make sense at first. Inside were newspaper clippings, sealed affidavits, unredacted surveillance reports, photographs, a hand-drawn diagram, a single key taped to the final peg, and one phrase written across the first document in his father's handwriting. "If you are reading this, they fail to stop you." Landon swallowed hard. Pierce stepped closer, trying to look discreet. What does it say?" Landon lifted a page. A surveillance photo. A man in a trench coat stepping into an unmarked building. Landon stiffened, because the man in the photo looked exactly like his father. But the date was impossible. It was from 8 months ago. Dana staggered backward, hand over her mouth. "That's not real," she whispered. "They made you think he's alive. They manipulate everything." "No," Alina said sharply. "They manipulate outcomes, not evidence. This is real." The lead operative raised a hand. "Don't listen to her." But Landon only held the photo tighter. He turned the page. Another photo, grainy, zoomed, taken from a distance. His father again. Next to him, the same lead operative standing on the rooftop now. Dana gasped. Alina's eyes widened with fury. Pierce staggered back like he'd just witnessed his own obituary being written. The operative didn't flinch. "Mr. Vale," he said calmly, "there are things your father knew, things no one should ever uncover. We didn't erase him. We protected him from a larger threat." "You," Landon said, "are the threat." The other operatives reacted, shifting their weight in defensive stances. But the lead operative held up a hand, stopping them. "Your father joined us," he said. "He made a choice." Dana screamed over the rain, struggling to remain upright. No, he would never betray his family." The operative's eyes flickered. "He didn't betray you. He protected you. That's why you're still alive." Landon's mind raced. Why had they watched him for years? Why had they monitored his search history? Why had his mother been paid to keep quiet? Because his father wasn't the only thing being controlled. His entire life was. He flipped to the next page. A diagram. Circles, arrows, initials. AT the center was a symbol he recognized from the encrypted files. A symbol shaped like an I split in half. Under it, His father had written, "This is who runs the justice system." Judge Pierce took a shaky breath. "Dear God." Alina stared at the page, horrified. "It's not a conspiracy. It's a shadow protocol." Landon looked up. "My father didn't join you." The lead operative remained silent. "He infiltrated you." A flash of panic finally crossed a man's face, and in that instant, Landon knew he was right. Alina stepped closer, voice trembling with adrenaline. "Landon, listen carefully. If your father was undercover, then he left his file, because he knew his time was running out. That means he found something this group can't afford to lose." Landon lifted the last page. A single sentence written in his father's precise script. The key reveals who works for them and who works against them. Landon looked at the key taped to the page. Small, silver, unimpressive, but the weight of it felt like destiny. The lead operative spoke softly. "Don't use that key, Landon. You will not survive what it opens." "Where does it lead?" Landon demanded. The man didn't answer. He didn't have to, because something shifted behind them, so subtle it nearly went unnoticed. Pierce's breath caught. Dana's eyes widened in dread. Dr. Alina Pratt slowly reached for the gun, holstered inside her coat. A seventh person had appeared on the rooftop. A man, soaking wet from the rain. A man whose face stopped Landon's heart. A man he hadn't seen since he was a baby. His father, or someone wearing his face. Dana collapsed to her knees with a broken sob. "Marcus." Landon couldn't breathe. The man stepped forward, expression unreadable. Not joy, not fear, just cold focus. He looked at Landon the way a surgeon looks at a scalpel, useful, dangerous, essential. "Landon," he said quietly. His voice matched a few recordings Landon had replayed 1,000 times. But it was empty. Landon stood. Are you real?" The man didn't respond immediately. Instead, he turned to the lead operative. "We're done here." The operative bowed his head. "Yes, sir." "Sir." Dana choked out a sob. "Marcus, you're one of them?" The man looked at her with no recognition at all. Landon felt something crack inside him. "You left us," he whispered. "You faked your disappearance." "No," the man said. "I was removed from my old life for a greater purpose." Alina raised her gun. "Marcus," she hissed, "don't do this." His eyes snapped to her. "You were told to stay out of the boy's path." Alina didn't lower the gun. "He deserves the truth." Landon shook, water dripping from his hair. "What truth?" Marcus Vale looked his son dead in the eyes. "You were never meant to become an attorney," he said. "You were meant to replace me." Landon's blood went cold. He felt the rooftop tilt beneath him. Dana screamed. Pierce stumbled backward. The operatives froze. Alina whispered, "Landon, don't listen." But Marcus stepped closer. "This is not coercion," he said softly. "This is your legacy." Landon backed away. "No." Marcus extended a hand. "Yes. The key your father left wasn't meant to expose you as the IT was meant to test you TOC if you were ready." Landon felt his heart pounding so hard it hurt. "Ready for what?" he whispered. Marcus smiled. "To take my place." Lightning ripped the sky in half. The rooftop flooded with white light. And Landon Vale understood the real twist. His father wasn't kidnapped. He wasn't erased. He wasn't a victim. He was the architect, the mastermind, the enemy. The storm swallowed the rooftop as Marcus stepped closer and whispered the words that shattered Landon's world. "Son, you were born for this." The storm raged so violently the rooftop felt like it was drifting into another world, one carved from wind, shadow, and betrayal. Landon Vale stared at the man who claimed to be his father, rain streaming down his face like tears he refused to shed. Marcus Vale, alive, standing not as a victim, but as the architect of everything Landon feared. The operatives surrounding them lowered their heads in silent allegiance. Dana Vale knelt near the concrete barrier, eyes wide with a mother's grief. Judge Pierce backed toward the stairwell, speechless. And beside Landon, Dr. Alina Pratt gripped her gun with both hands, knuckles white. Landon had never felt more alone. Marcus stepped closer, his expression carved from cold purpose. Landon, the key. Give it to me. Landon didn't move. Alina stepped forward instead, blocking the man she once considered friend. You don't get to take him, she said. Not after everything you've done. Marcus's voice was low, unshaken. Alina, he is my son. No, she snapped. He's what's left of the part of you that used to care about the truth. A faint, humorless smile touched Marcus's lips. There was a time I admired your loyalty. His tone sharpened. Until you chose to break it. The operative stepped closer. Dana buried her face in her hands. Rain hammered the rooftop like a ticking clock. And Landon finally exhaled. Why did you leave us? Marcus didn't hesitate. To protect you. That's a lie, Landon said. His voice broke, but his resolve did not. If protection was your goal, you wouldn't be standing with them. Marcus's expression softened, not with love, but with calculation. This organization saved me. They elevated me. They taught me truth beyond morality, justice beyond law. But even then, I knew one day you would rise too fast, think too deeply, ask too many questions, just like I did. Landon felt something shift inside him, something cold sliding into place as the last illusions died. You weren't taken, he whispered. You chose them over us. Marcus sighed. I chose order over chaos, legacy over weakness, and now you must choose as well. Dana lurched forward, her voice raw and trembling. Landon, don't listen. Silence her, Marcus ordered. Two operatives moved instantly. Alina cocked her gun. Touch her and I swear. Marcus lifted a hand, stopping everyone. The boy decides. He turned to Landon, rain streaking his face. Give me the key. Walk away with me. Learn what I learned. Rise where I rose. Join me, and you will never run, hide, or fear again. Alina shook her head fiercely. Landon, he doesn't want a son. He wants a weapon. Landon's hand tightened around the silver key. The symbol engraved on it shimmered in the stormlight. Marcus stepped forward, extending a steady hand. You were born for this. No, Landon said quietly. I was raised to survive you. Lightning cracked across the sky like a warning. For a moment, everyone froze. Then everything shattered at once. Marcus lunged. Alina fired a warning shot. Operatives rushed forward. Judge pierced up behind a concrete block. Dana screamed Landon's name. Landon bolted. He sprinted across the rooftop, dodging the operatives, clutching the key with every ounce of strength. Rain blurred his vision, but he didn't stop. Behind him, Marcus shouted, You cannot outrun what you are. Landon didn't look back. He reached the rooftop door, yanked it open. An operative tackled him. Both crashed onto the slick concrete floor inside the stairwell. Landon fought with a wild, breathless desperation he never knew he had. The man pinned him, grabbing his wrists. Landon saw it, a taser holstered at the operative's belt. He grabbed it, pulled it free, jammed it forward. A sharp crack echoed. The operative fell limp. Landon shoved him aside, scrambling to his feet. He sprinted down the stairs, heart pounding against his ribs. He had seconds before more followed. The lights flickered. Thunder shook the metal railings. Every step felt like stepping deeper into a labyrinth built from the ruins of his life. He reached the 13th floor landing, the level Alina pointed to, the level his father had circled in the diagram, the level connected to the symbol. A rusted metal door sat at the end of the hallway, unmarked except for one detail, a symbol etched into the handle, the same symbol on the file dot on the organization. Half an eye, Landon froze. This was what the key opened. He looked down the stairwell. Footsteps thundered upward. They were coming. Screams echoed above, Alina and Dana still fighting. Judge Pierce shouting for help. The roof erupting in chaos. Landon lifted the silver key. His breath trembled. If he opened the door, he stepped into the world his father built. If he didn't, he would never know the truth. The footsteps grew louder. Closer. He slid the key into the lock. It clicked. The door creaked open. Darkness, cold air, the faint smell of dust and something metallic. A single dim light flickered inside. Landon stepped in, and what he saw made his blood turn to ice. Rows of filing cabinets, hundreds, stretched across the hidden room like a graveyard of secrets. Documents, case files, evidence boxes, every one marked with the same symbol. This wasn't storage. This was control. A secret archive of every case they had touched, every life they had manipulated, every judge they owned, every attorney they controlled, every witness they silenced. Landon staggered forward, his heartbeat echoing in the metal room. On a table near the center lay a thick binder, dusty, locked with a clasp, carved into the cover. Veil succession. His father had planned this, prepared it, expected it. Landon opened the binder. The first page held a single envelope. To my successor. Before he could open it, a hand grabbed his shoulder. Landon spun. Marcus stood in the doorway, his coat dripping rain, his eyes hollow, his expression unreadable. He had gotten past Alina, past Dana, past everyone. "You finally opened the door," Marcus said softly. "I always knew you would." Landon stepped back, binder clutched to his chest. "Don't come closer." Marcus smiled faintly, tragically. "You still don't understand, do you?" "What?" Landon snapped. Marcus stepped inside, sealing the door behind him. "I didn't come here to stop you," he said. "I came here to finish your training." Landon's stomach dropped. "This room," Marcus whispered, sweeping his hand across the archive, "is your inheritance." "No," Landon breathed. "This is your prison." Marcus's eyes flashed with something almost human. Pain, regret, or madness. Landon couldn't tell. "I sacrificed everything," he said. "My name, my life, you, to keep justice from collapsing. And I will not allow you to destroy what I built." Landon tightened his grip on the binder. "Then you shouldn't have left me alive." A moment of pure silence. Then Marcus lunged. Landon raised the binder like a shield. The lights burst above them. Darkness swallowed the archive. And in the black, a voice whispered, "Landon, run." Not Marcus's voice. Alina's. A gunshot exploded. A scream followed. Then silence. Landon's breath hitched. He didn't know if the scream belonged to Marcus or Alina. He didn't know who had fallen. He didn't know who still stood in the dark. He only knew one thing. The archive door was still open, and footsteps were approaching him from the shadows. Slow, heavy, uncertain. Landon backed away, binder against his chest, heart exploding inside him. Another footstep. Another. Then a whisper. "Son, come back." Marcus's voice. Or was it? Landon froze. Because the next sentence wasn't Marcus's voice at all. It was someone else. Someone deeper in the room. Someone he hadn't seen yet. Someone who said, "You opened the door just like I knew you would." A silhouette moved in the darkness. Tall, still, watching him. Landon felt his throat close. "Who are you?" The figure stepped into the flickering light, revealing a face Landon had only ever seen in a single grainy photo in the file. A man who had supposedly died years ago. A man who looked almost identical to Marcus, but not the same. The stranger smiled. "My name," he whispered, "is Adrian Vale." Landon's blood ran cold. Dana's husband, Marcus's twin brother. The man Landon never knew existed. The original founder of the organization. Alive. Standing inches from him. And he whispered, "You've been chasing the wrong father all along." The lights died. The door slammed shut. Darkness swallowed them.